Unit 7 Happiness. 7.2 Introduction. If you are asked, what do you want in life, what would be your reply? Write down your answers in order of their priority. It may be that you want to be successful, earn lots of money, you want to own a big house in a posh locality, own a big car, go for vacation abroad, or just enjoy life, be happy, or pursue your passion of music, go trekking, work for the cause of disability and so on. The ultimate goal in all these is that you want to derive satisfaction, feel good, and seek meaning and purpose in your life. When you say you want to be successful, or own a big car, or pursue music, or work for the orphaned children, ultimately you want to be happy in whatever you want to do. Finding meaning in our life also gives us happiness. Happiness is a multidimensional construct where we can aim for simple pleasures and enjoyment, as well as pursuing our hobbies and passions, and also devoting ourselves to various social causes, and contributing meaningfully to the society. What is happiness? Talk to people across developmental stages, such as a school child, an adolescent, a young adult, an adult in middle age and an elder about what do they want in life and what makes them happy. Analyze their responses and check for any variations in their life goals and conception of happiness. Further, analyze how the demographic factors such as their gender, socioeconomic condition, education, and disability, if any, affects their responses. 7.3 Concept of happiness. You might have found from Activity 1 that many people want a happy and satisfying life. They want a life majorly dominated by the experience of positive emotions. Such a life Seligman calls as pleasant life, which is characterized by deriving pleasures in life, signifies fulfilling various needs of the individual. However, one can also go beyond this and achieve a more stable happiness when one focuses on realizing one's strengths and potentials, for example, pursuing music, or excelling in a sport, engaging in one's interest in gardening or swimming, etc. This gives you a good life where you make use of your strengths and skills to feel capable and confident. This makes you feel good and happy about yourself. Finally, when you go beyond this and use your unique strengths to contribute to others, devote yourself for a greater cause, it provides you a meaningful life. Here you look beyond the pleasures and the feel-good factor about yourself, and look for a larger meaning and purpose in life. Thus Martin Seligman has talked about 3 types of life to indicate the various dimensions of happiness. Authentic and sustainable happiness can be achieved only with a meaningful life, as it provides a deeper sense of fulfillment and achieves a flourishing state of well-being. However, it does not mean that we do not pursue the other 2 types of life. Rather, Seligman advocates an integrative approach where one pursues the pleasures in life, works towards using one's strengths, and aims at going beyond oneself, being altruistic, and working for greater cause. This helps in conceptualizing happiness comprehensively. Hedonic and eudaimonic perspective. The pleasant life of Seligman refers to the hedonic aspect of happiness. In this sense, happiness is described as satisfaction of needs, fulfillment of which provides pleasure to the individual. Hedonic happiness focuses on personal happiness involving pleasure, joy and satisfaction. For instance, you enjoyed a good meal at the restaurant, you had fun with your friends in the party, or you felt so satisfied with your life basking in the sun in the sea beach. This is the common sense of happiness, where the good life involves enjoyment and satisfaction. In the scientific research in psychology focuses on the concept of subjective well-being, SWB, as a synonym for happiness. SWB refers to the subjective evaluation of one's life, i.e., how does one perceive and evaluate / judge one's life. Subjective well-being is defined as consisting of 3 components: A. Life satisfaction, B. presence of positive affect, and c. a relative absence of negative affect. Thus there is a preponderance of positive emotion experiences than negative emotions in one's life. It involves a cognitive component of evaluation in terms of life satisfaction and an affective component marked by prevalence of positive emotions rather than negative emotions. SWB can include Seligman's pleasant life as well as good life. Eudaimonic happiness, on the other hand, refers to a deeper sense of meaning in life. No one will probably want to be always on the pleasure mode, being happy and cheerful. One will then miss the variety of emotions that enriches our life, and develops appreciation for life. Aristotle's eudaimonic view of happiness states that the good life involves living according to one's daimon, or true self. Thus it states that happiness comes from realizing one's potentials and striving towards self-actualization. Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about self-actualization as one of the highest needs which gives meaning to one's life. When one lives life as per one's talents and values, it leads to an authentic life, being true to oneself. This makes one's life meaningful and provides authentic happiness. Thus eudaimonic happiness involves utilization of individuals' strengths, abilities, talents, values and skills. Hence it is also called the psychological well-being, PWB. Hence psychology research focuses more on well-being instead of happiness, because happiness centers on a limited view of pleasures and life satisfaction. But a broader concept of well-being adds meaning to our pleasure life and good life to make it more comprehensive, and leads towards flourishing. In addition to minimizing negative experiences and maximizing positive experiences in life, well-being also consists of achieving full human potential and to live life fully with meaning and authenticity and purposefulness. Hedonic and eudaimonic conceptions of happiness may seem to be in opposition and hedonic pleasure may seem to lack in merit. However, research suggests that positive affect can contribute to meaning in life by helping the individual to think in terms of a larger context. Experiencing positive emotions may make one feel happy and engage in different meaningful activities. Similarly, meaningful engagement and purpose in life will make one experience various positive emotions including being happy. Both hedonic and eudaimonic happiness contributes to one's well-being. Table 7.1, Hedonic and eudaimonic happiness. Hedonic, subjective well-being. Eudaimonic, psychological well-being. Presence of positive mood. Sense of control or autonomy. Absence of negative mood. Feeling of meaning and purpose. Satisfaction with various domains of life, for example, work, leisure. Personal expressiveness. Global life satisfaction. Feelings of belongingness. Social contribution. Competence. Personal growth. Self-acceptance. 7.4 Models of happiness. Carroll RYFF's 6-factor model of psychological well-being. According to Carroll RYFF, subjective well-being, SWB, focuses on positive emotions and life satisfaction, but it does not highlight the aspect of positive functioning. She states that well-being and happiness needs to include human strengths, growth, and striving towards goals. Thus it should also include psychological and social functioning such as autonomy, resilience, purpose, and mental health. RYFF has proposed the 6-factor model of psychological well-being. These 6 factors of self-acceptance, personal growth, positive relations with others, environmental mastery, autonomy, and purpose in life together contribute to happiness in one's life. Corey Key's dual continuum model of mental health. Taking the concept of psychological well-being, Keyes has extended its application to our mental health and proposed a comprehensive model of mental health. According to Keyes, complete mental health includes emotional well-being, psychological well-being, and social well-being. According to the dual continuum model by Keyes, mental health is represented by two dimensions which gives rise to four categories. The horizontal dimension ranges from presence of mental illness on the left to absence of mental illness on the right side. The vertical dimension ranges from poor mental health at the bottom to good mental health towards the top of the axis. Intersection of these two dimensions / continuum results in four categories. Flourishing, good mental health and no mental illness is there. Flourishing, good mental health despite having mental illness. Languishing, poor mental health and mental illness is there. Languishing, poor mental health despite having no mental illness. Keyes' model draws our attention to the fact that the presence of mental health and well-being in the individual does not necessarily mean there is no mental illness in them. That is, we can be happy, achieve things, and lead a meaningful life even if we are suffering from any illness. Similarly, absence of any mental illness in the individual does not necessarily mean that there is happiness and good mental health in them. That is, even if we are not suffering from any illness, we may not be happy and leading a meaningful life. PERMA model of Seligman. Developing on the hedonic-eudaimonic aspects of happiness, Seligman added further dimensions and proposed the PERMA model of happiness, which is more comprehensive. The acronym stands for positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning and accomplishment, which can be considered as the five major components contributing our well-being. Positive emotion refers to those activities and experiences that give rise to positive emotions in us, such as joy, happiness, pride, contentment, love, compassion and gratitude. They provide a good feeling, a sense of satisfaction, help us in savoring good things in life, and improve well-being. Engagement refers to being involved in an activity to such an extent that it creates a sense of flow in the individual. For example, you lose track of time when you are engrossed in reading your favorite author's novel or playing guitar, which you enjoy so much. It involves utilization of our values, strengths, and talents. For instance, you are completely focused while trying to solve a puzzle or playing Sudoku. The challenge needs to be of such optimum level that meets your strengths and skills, but is neither too hard nor too easy for you. Relationships refer to inculcating positive relationships characterized by positive emotions, love, acceptance, etc. that contributes to our social well-being. Relationships occupy a major part of our life, which involves our relationship with our family, partners, friends, colleagues, supervisors, etc. Hence they play a major role in enhancing our well-being. Meaning consists of finding a purpose in our life which gives us an opportunity to use our signature strengths to contribute for causes beyond ourselves. It generates a sense of worth in our life. This makes our life meaningful and enhances our well-being. For instance, you can contribute greatly through your profession, creative pursuits, social causes, and / or religious / spiritual activities. All these help in self-actualization and achieving meaning in one's life. Accomplishment includes our various achievements, which increase our positive emotions, self-esteem, sense of competence, mastery, etc., all of which contribute to our good mental health. However, our accomplishments can lead to well-being when these are guided by internal motivation, i.e., achieving for the sake of it rather than for any external reward or recognition. According to Seligman, each of the five components of the PERMA model is characterized by three properties: a. They contribute to well-being of the individual, b. Many people pursue them for its own sake, and c. they are defined and measured independently of each other. Gross national happiness, GNH. The concept of GNH originated in Bhutan. It was first proposed by the fourth king of Bhutan, His Majesty Jigme Singye Wangchuck, in the early 1970s. Bhutan's ancient legal code of 1629 stated that, if the government cannot create happiness for its people, then there is no purpose for government to exist. Gross domestic product, GDP, as a measure of a country's progress, was questioned, as happiness and well-being of the people need to be accorded top priority rather than economic progress only. Focus needs to be on achieving a flourishing human society living in harmony with nature. Article 9 of the Constitution of Bhutan states that the state shall strive to promote those conditions that will enable the pursuit of gross national happiness. GNH adopts a multidimensional development approach seeking to achieve a harmonious balance between material well-being and the spiritual, emotional and cultural needs of society. 7.5 Indian perspective on happiness. Ancient Indian texts like the Vedas, Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita provide us lots of insights into the nature and working of human mind, and how it can contribute to our happiness sukha and unhappiness dukkha. In common parlance, happiness is termed as khushi. These texts provide the social framework and ground rules regarding leading a good life and enhancing well-being in individuals. Kumar proposes three perspectives on Indian conception of happiness and well-being. A. Shavaka philosophy. The Indian perspective in ancient times focused on the pleasure concept of happiness similar to hedonic happiness. This is reflected in the Shavaka principle, which says Javat jivit sukham jivit, rinam kritwa gritam pibit, i.e., take loan or credit, but enjoy the pleasures, live happily till you live here in this world. It focused on the life now and advocated to live it to the fullest extent, seeking pleasures only and avoiding any pain and suffering. This reflected the principle of living for the moment. However, this approach /conception did not gain popularity at that time. B. Transcendent perspective. As emphasized by the eudaimonic approach, Indian views on happiness and well-being also focuses on meaning in life but goes beyond it to transcendent state. This is the ultimate in well-being, where it talks about the state of ananda or pure bliss. The individual transcends the worldly limitations and enters into the divine world, which gives the ultimate happiness, the blissful state of happiness. Maslow had also extended his theory of hierarchy of needs by proposing the need of transcendence after the self-actualization need, which can lead to true happiness. C. Collectivist perspective. In between the extremes of pleasure approach of Shavaka and the spiritual approach of transcendence lies the collectivistic approach followed by a majority of people in India. According to the collectivistic approach to life espoused by Indian tradition, a life of moderation, focus on the collective goodness, living for others and other such human values and principles are advocated for promoting well-being. It is reflected by such prayers as below, which focuses on collective happiness, Vajradaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family. Sarv Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarv Santu Niramaya, Sarv Bhadrani Paziantu, Markaskid Dukhabiga Bhavat. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all perceive good and may not suffer from sorrow. Indian perspective on happiness is dominated more by spiritual and collectivistic aspects than the materialistic view. As mentioned by Kumar, Indian munis and rishis, sages and seers, focused on what is permanent, truth, and what is not permanent, mithya, in their quest for ultimate truth. The everlasting happiness comes from knowing one's self, Atman, transcending the self, and developing a higher consciousness where one realizes that I am that or Soham. I am the same as the universe or the ultimate reality. There is no difference between you and me, we all are connected. This leads to true well-being and everlasting happiness or bliss, Ananda. Further, Indian thought and philosophy proposes 4 major goals in human life: dharma, artha, karma, and moksha, that is, pursuit of values, wealth, desires, and liberation respectively. Individuals whose life is dominated by artha and karma, they are engaged in acquisition of wealth, and satisfaction of their desires related to biological as well as psychological aspects. These represent lower level of human existence dominated by materialism. Dharma represents life governed by values, which can be said to represent a good life with discipline, responsibility, utilization of one's strengths, meaning and purposefulness. Moksha, the ultimate goal, aims at transcendence and liberation from this worldly existence. The relative emphasis that we give to the pursuit of these 4 goals in life will influence our happiness and well-being. Artha and karma focuses on what is praya, what we desire, whereas dharma and moksha represents what is shreya, what is good. A life lived with strengths, values, and virtues, which are the focus of research in positive psychology, enhances our well-being. 7.6 Factors affecting happiness. Research has found lots of benefits of happiness, such as good physical health, boosting immunity, and reducing stress. Before we go on to describe measures for increasing our happiness to reap the benefits, let us discuss various factors that can affect our happiness. Understanding the demographics of happiness can help us devise and implement effective strategies for enhancing happiness and well-being. Money. The common perception is that if one earns a lot of money, has all the material comforts, one will be happy. It is believed that people with low financial status face difficulty in meeting their needs and hence are less happy and more stressed with life's challenges. However, research points out that although income increases our happiness, beyond a point, addition in income does not lead to further increase in happiness. This explains the strong relationship between income and well-being among the impoverished, but an insignificant relationship between the 2 variables among the affluent. Thus it indicates that money is necessary for meeting the needs, and hence may affect our happiness, but beyond a point, there are other factors, mainly psychological factors, that determine our happiness and well-being. As stated by Baumgartner and Crothers, happiness is a subjective psychological state that depends more on the quality, rather than the quantity, of our lives. Marriage. Those who are married are believed to be happier than those not married or divorced/separated. Can we infer from this that marriage makes one happy? Is it possible to deduce a cause and effect relationship here? Studies also indicate that married people were already happier before marriage. So it is the quality of marital relationship that is more important in contributing to happiness in marriage. Age. Findings indicate that happiness varies across the lifespan. Usually, the adolescence stage is seen as the worst stage, marked by storm and stress, various challenges of growing up and understanding the biological and psychological changes. Adult life is beset with many responsibilities regarding earning, having a family, raising children, taking care of the older people, etc. The college years, the stage of young adults, are typically tension-free without any major responsibility and full of more fun time. However, contrary to the popular beliefs, research indicates a general stability of subjective well-being across the lifespan. That is, the level of happiness remains more or less similar across the age. Gender. What do you think, whether men are more happy or women are more happy? Whatever the common perception, studies report approximately the same level of happiness in men and women. Other studies have shown less than 1% difference in perceived well-being of men and women. However, there is gender difference in their emotional life, the way emotions are expressed and experienced. Thus research studies point out that the demographic variables may not have that strong relationship with our happiness and well-being. Although our common perception tells us that if a person has a big bank balance, owns a bungalow, has luxurious car, goes on expensive vacations, is young and doing a very good job and so on, these are the signs that indicate that the person will be happy and enjoying good mental health. On the other hand, findings point out that the demographic variables and the life circumstances have a much weaker relationship to happiness. This is called the paradox of well-being. That is, there is no linear relationship between the demographic indicators of happiness and happiness. Our happiness and well-being depends on factors beyond the demographic factors. Culture is an important aspect to be factored in while discussing well-being of individuals. Research has reported differences in the SWB of people from individualistic and collectivistic cultures. As discussed earlier in the Indian perspectives on happiness, our nation reflects a collectivistic culture where well-being is marked more by self-realization, compassion towards others, and altruism rather than focusing on the individual pursuits and achievements. Kitayama and Marcus point out that independence, autonomy, and agency are the predictors of happiness in the Western culture as compared to the interconnectedness of self and others in the Eastern culture. 7.7 Enhancing our happiness and well-being. The measures to enhance our happiness can follow a multi-pronged approach. It needs to take into account various aspects of happiness ranging from positive emotional experiences, satisfaction of needs to utilization of one's signature strengths, values, finding one's life purpose and cultivating a higher consciousness. Reference to the broaden and build theory of positive emotions discussed in earlier section, steps can be taken to create positive emotions, which will help us in developing resources to meet with life challenges. This will further enhance our self-esteem and utilization of skills and talents, that will lead to a good life. Other models of well-being have also highlighted the role of positive experiences, positive relationships, positive achievement and meaning in enhancing well-being. Constructs related to positive psychology such as gratitude, resilience, kindness, optimism, hope, mindfulness etc. play an important role in achieving happiness. Various interventions have been researched for promoting happiness and well-being such as gratitude through writing letters, increasing optimistic thinking through visualization of one's best possible future self, appreciating and savoring the positive experiences of life, finding meaning in life, and using one's strengths. It is pointed out that when the individual intentionally engages in such activities, it leads to flourishing and good positive mental health in the individual. In an experimental longitudinal intervention to boost well-being, it was reported that the interventions for enhancing happiness are most successful when participants know about, endorse, and commit to the intervention. The widely cited happiness pie chart of Lyubomirsky points out that we need to focus on our own initiatives and actions impacting our happiness. According to this, 50% of our happiness is determined by our genetic factor, 10% is determined by circumstances, whereas 40% is influenced by our own intentional activities. Even though it highlights a genetic set point, as with every other aspect of our behavior, it is the dynamic interaction between the nature and the nurture that will influence the outcome. Further, one needs to focus on the 40% intentional activity component engagement of the individual in conscious positive cognitive, behavioral, and goal-based activities, which is under one's control, which can account for individual differences in well-being. Another benefit of the practice of volitional positive activities is that they may serve as a natural antidote to the process of hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation refers to the phenomenon that the newness or the pleasure derived from anything gradually wears off, For example, the amount of joy, excitement and the care you show when you buy a new car or a house does not last for long. Thus there is a tendency to adapt to positive life experiences relatively quickly. However, when we intentionally engage in activities to increase our happiness, their effect may last for longer periods of time. Measures to boost your happiness. Engage in any activity, utilizing all your senses. Create meaning in whatever you are doing, this will help you to be more engaged in it. Show kindness towards others. Express gratitude towards others. Share with others and care for others. Practice meditation. Engage in hobbies. Do relaxation exercise. Take life as it is. Cultivate a sense of acceptance. Decide on your life priorities. Indian conception of happiness offers a rich repertoire of broader concepts and principles to enhance well-being. Indian thought system advocates for a balanced approach to life that can result in a good life and meaningful life. It focuses more on leading a value-based life, based on Dharma, rather than indulging exclusively on Artha and Karma, which reflects a pleasure-dominated life. The highest goal is moving towards the realization of Atma Dipo Bhava, you be the light, and Aham Brahmasmi, I am the universe. This reflects transcending oneself and experiencing the bliss that we are. To reach this higher state, one needs to focus on one's lifestyle, whether it is dominated by Artha, Karma, and Dharma, and to what extent each dominates, whether it is more Artha-Karma-oriented life, or it is more a virtuous life focusing on values. The objective is to lead a Dharma-based life, achieve self-actualization and move towards self-realization, the ultimate state of well-being. Ashtanga Yoga is one of the measures advocated by Indian tradition, which aims to regulate the agitations of mind, make the mind calm, cultivate detachment, and move towards altruism. This can contribute to a psychologically healthy person, enhancing our health, happiness and well-being. It consists of 8 limbs or parts that focus on different practices to discipline oneself, develop attentional practices, and enhance one's ultimate well-being. The 8 parts are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi, about which you will learn more later in Unit 13. It can be just noted here that the practice of these 8 steps will help one to focus on one's physical health as well as mental health, emotional health and spiritual health. One can practice the 5 mantras to take care of different aspects of our happiness and well-being. Proper food, good sleep and adequate exercise improves our physical health. Thinking well, which includes rational thinking and balancing our emotions, promote our mental health and psychological well-being, and relating well refers to good interpersonal relationship, social well-being, as well as connecting to a higher being, spiritual well-being. 7.8 Let us sum up. You learned about happiness and the related terminologies in the present unit. You also learned about how happiness and well-being is viewed in the Indian thought and philosophical tradition. Happiness needs to be conceptualized and studied in terms of well-being as a multidimensional construct. Factors affecting happiness were highlighted. Further, various measures to enhance happiness and well-being were discussed. However, the formula of being happy may not be that simple, as we need to understand the dynamic interaction of various factors contributing towards our flourishing and well-being.